color of the heavens, of the sky, a color so excellent in hue that at one point it was more expensive than gold. Located between violet and green on the optical spectrum, we see blue as the reflection of light off of surfaces such as water. Our eyes perceive that reflection as blue. But where did we harness the color and transform its hue into magnificent works of art? We met up with Dr. Annie Wagner, a chemist who has devoted her time to the study of the blue pigment, to learn more about its history.
Early mankind had no access to blue because blue is not what you call an earth color. Only with the advent of mining could sources of blue pigment be extracted. The first stable blue colorant used in the ancient world came from lapis, a semi-precious stone mined in Afghanistan beginning about 6,000 years ago. The Egyptians prized all things lapis, combining it with gold to adorn the tombs of the pharaohs or powdering it into eyeshadow for Cleopatra. But the scarcity of the mineral drove the Egyptians to seek new blues through chemistry. They invented the richly saturated royal turquoise pigment called Egyptian blue. Variants of the recipe were taken up by the Mesopotamians, the Persians, the Greeks, and the Romans, who built factories devoted to blues production. In ancient China, chemists also created blue pigments. The Mesoamericans invented the third of the three great blues of ancient civilization, a vivid and durable pigment called Mayan blue that scientists recently suggested could be a mix of indigo plant extract and resin from the Mayans' sacred incense copal.
Blue also continued its history in the Western European world. Once lapis has made its way into Western art by the 1300s, blue was everywhere. In religious works, illuminated manuscripts, on the walls of sanctuaries. The color became so popular that it was kept for the divine woman herself, the Virgin Mary, to be adorned in robes of brilliant blues. But over the course of time, blue became more than a symbol of the divine. Blue became the greatest color of our deepest feelings. One such artist, Pablo Picasso, would harness the color blue to be an outward expression of utmost despair and solitude. Before Pablo Picasso became the artist and abstractionist painter that we know him for today, he made his debut as a young man with the blue period. Between 1901 to 1904, Picasso's blue period depicted the darkest corners of the artist's despair. This period began with the suicide of his dearest friend, Carlos Casagemas. Picasso was deeply burdened by this trauma and began to express his ideas on death and resignation with the color blue. His painting, entitled The Blind Man's Meal, is a classic representation of his style. We see a solitary, forlorn figure set in front of an almost empty background that can somewhat symbolize the figure drowning in an ocean of despair. This figure is an impoverished blind man, and he is feeling around for the scraps of his meager meal. The predominant feature, of course, the various hues of blue. The palette elicits a mood of melancholy, desolation, unhappiness, dejection, poverty, and despair. Picasso generally painted the unfortunates of society, like this impoverished blind man, because he identified with their feelings. It was a way to comment on human suffering, and blue was his appropriate color. In the modern age, one artist sought to revolutionize the color blue and create his own life-changing hue. We met up with local artist Cameron Tesson to tell you which artist that was.
Yves Klein was a revolutionary with his use of the color blue. He believed you could escape to other worlds through blue. Klein wanted to create a blue paint that was as pure as hue as possible, unlike the current blue paints that would yellow. He worked with a chemist to develop his new blue, and in 1961, he published his patent for Klein Blue. Klein wanted to start a revolution with his new blue. He painted huge canvases with his new blue and titled them Open Windows to Freedom. These works were to represent the boundlessness of his own particular utopian vision of the world.
Today, we can give the color blue boundless representations. We have taken the lapis stone from the ancient mining camps of Afghanistan and chemically harnessed its properties to create exponential hues of the heavenly color. Artists like Pablo Picasso explored the melodramatic, somber side of blue, while Yves Klein sought to revolutionize and create a utopian shade. Whether you are looking at blue skies or singing the blues, don't forget, we all come from the blue planet.